Hey everyone. I know it's been a long time since I've done a video. Been focusing on my family and God, letting Him work through me. It's been great. I've been learning a lot, reading a lot, so it's been really good. I was just talking to my husband, and he had a revelation, which is great. I love hearing anytime someone has a revelation, specifically him, just because we love to share with each other what God is doing in our lives, outside of each other. So it's just exciting. And one of the things was he was talking about sharing your testimony and how important it is, because your story can help someone else and guide someone and lead someone to have a relationship with Jesus. Because they seen that you were in a similar situation and you were able to overcome. And people just want to know, like, why? How did you do it? My story is amazing. God definitely is a merciful God and a graceful God. I've somewhat let you guys know about part of my story. You guys heard the first half of my story. I'll kind of go into a little bit more of after my divorce, because I went through a lot of trials and tribulations. Like, it was rough. And even now, thinking, like, I remember in that time I was like, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, not realizing why I was in the situation that I was in, which I understand now. But the biggest thing was God was there the whole time. Did I see that? Did I understand that? No. Unfortunately, no. But now I'm like, wow. Like, I literally had scales over my eyes. I was blind. And He guided me the whole time, which a little piece of me knew that. But I didn't have the faith that I have now. So and it literally takes faith of a mustard seed. Like, I've always believed in that, Jesus Christ is Lord. He died on the cross for me. There is a God. Like, I've always believed in that ever since I was a little girl. Like, I've always believed in that. I never doubted that ever in my life, because of the things that I've been through and was able to overcome. So back to a little bit of my story. So in 2017, I made the decision to divorce my previous husband. And prior to that, I was in a lot of sin. Like, we had a horrible marriage. And not only because of him. I know many of you that do know my story, I blamed him for everything. Literally not condoning what I did, making him out to be this horrible person. I mean, there was a lot of things that he did to me that was very, very heartbreaking and very emotional and mentally trying. But I took out everything. My whole divorce and everything was his fault. It was his fault. I had nothing to do with it, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was very vocal about what I did to end that marriage. And that was specifically why I did it. There was infidelity. And I admitted to him, and I told him, and I, confessed that to him. Like, yes, I did this. We shouldn't be together, and that was my way out. But I didn't take into, like, consideration. Like, I think now, like, wow, like, I completely pushed him away and, painted him as a bad person just because I was so shameful of what I did. And that was wrong, and it just wasn't right. And I didn't give him time to recover from that. I just told him, like, let's just not talk about it. Let's move forward. Like, let's ignore it, this and that, and that was wrong, and that's very emotionally and mentally draining for somebody. But I own up to it. And, you know, and I have asked him for forgiveness for it now, because I do see now, like, dude, that was wrong, you know, and I was very shameful about it. I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want to talk about it, you know, and a lot of people thought it was him. No, it was me. I mean, there was infidelity from him, as well. But the ending of my divorce was me. And I take 100% accountability for that. So I lived in a state of woe is me for a long time. And I made myself out to be the victim. I mean, there was a lot of unfortunate things that had happened, but I was also there with the gasoline and the lighter. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't solely them on their part, the people who were involved with the whole situation. A lot of it was me as well. Like, I was just there with the lighter. Like, he had the gasoline and I had the lighter, and I was like ready to light it, and I knew what I would do. You know what I mean? So, so much. But anyway, back to overcoming it, right? That's the biggest part. That's the best part. Yes, I have juicy details. Yes, I have a lot of stories that are crazy and off the wall that a lot of people are like, what? That? Like, what? Like, what were you thinking? Like, what were they thinking? Like, you know, it's just a lot of things. But my biggest thing I want to talk about is what God did during that time. Okay. So probably, let's see, the month that everything happened and we decided, you know what, like, I'm going to leave. We'll talk about divorce later. I'm leaving. I'm removing myself from the situation. I'm removing my kids from the situation. We can talk about this later. Just don't talk about that specific topic, whatever. So at that time, I went and applied for an apartment, right? This was February 2017. I went and applied for an apartment without my husband at the time knowing. I did it behind his back because I was like, okay, this, you know what? Like, he can't know. I'm planning on leaving. Like, this isn't going to work. Yes, yada, yada, yada. So I forgot I applied for this apartment. You know, I went and stayed with my mom for a couple of months. Then he came back and was like, hey, like, let's get our own place. Like, let's change. Like, I want to start over. Like, let's make this work. Let's do this. I found a place that they only do 6 months leases. Let's just try it out, you know, start over with me, you, and the kids, like a whole new clean slate. And I was like, all right, but what if it doesn't work? Well, that's why we're doing a 6-month lease. So that way at the end of the 6 months, if it doesn't work, we can walk away, wash our hands clean of this. We tried, that was it. Okay. I gave in and I did it. Well, it got worse and worse. I completely forgot that I applied for this apartment, right? So I applied for this apartment, forgot about it, signed up for, like, I was on a wait list because I would be considered low income. I wasn't working at the time. I was just going to school full time. So anyway, I forgot about that. We got this new apartment and things just got worse and worse. Like, there was no trust. We couldn't communicate. We're fighting every single day. I was just crying to God, like, please get me out of this situation, get me out of this situation, get me out of this situation, God. Like, if you hear me, God, like, remove me from this situation. I don't want to be here. I literally felt trapped. And I was just like, that's what I would pray all the time. I will get to a part 2.